Hindu hatred, Hindu hatred and Hindu phobia. So Professor Tandon would be speaking on the basis why it all started. The basis of this began not now, not 75 years ago. It was laid by the Macaulayan system of education when he decided that Indians should be, basically Hindus should be educated using English as a medium of instruction. Thereby, they would poison our minds and we would only remain in Indians by color and by face and by names, but we would think like Europeans or the British or the Christians. So this has been mentioned even in Dharampalji's book, and Dharampalji also states that there was a huge system of um, Hindu education before this British system started in our mother tongue, with focus, with medium of instruction being our mother tongue. So Professor Snehata Tandon would be speaking about it. She's a professor of social work from Delhi University, done a PhD from Jamia Millia Islamia, and also a noted criminologist. I welcome Professor Tandon to give her speech on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Gayatri. And it's an honor to be part of this
Honor is ours,
forum.
ma'am.
Yes. I will be, in order to be within the time, I would like to just read out the short note which I have written, and then we can go in for questions, whatever they are. So it is actually the British who were the ones responsible for systematically eroding the very well spread Indian education system, our system of Gurukuls and the Guru Shishya Parampara, which existed and which used to impart knowledge not only on science, technology, but also on our culture and our values. But unfortunately, this has been eroded by the Western rulers. We all know that it is in the primary education that the importance is important for taking the nation ahead. It was now, in order to destroy the education system, Macaulay introduced English medium of instruction and diverted all the money for English education. Whatever money was kept for Indian system of education, all that got stopped and got diverted towards this English system of education. And this he did intentionally because he wanted to create a class of persons, Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinion, in morals, and in intellect. Because he was of the view that no Hindu who received English education ever remains sincerely attached to his religion. Now, naturally, a nation gets weakened when the ignorance of the people about their own roots increases, or when they become ashamed of themselves or of their forefathers. And this is what we see, that we are ashamed of talking in our own language. We emphasize right from childhood, the parents also try to promote English amongst their children rather than the mother tongue. So this is what has really affected a lot in our thinking as well. Thus, the very foundation of Indian ancient civilization began to crumble. Unfortunately, this system of education continued even after India's independence. The result was that we knew least about our own history, culture, and religion. Introduction of the new education policy has, of course, now changed the scenario. In the new education policy, we have adopted bottom-up approach, and it aims to bridge social gaps in participation, access, and learning outcomes in school education and multiple entry and exit options in degree courses. Emphasis has also been given until class 5 on teaching in mother tongue or regional languages. Sanskrit has been introduced as third optional language at all levels of the school. Hundreds of socio-cultural organizations and millions of dedicated volunteers are now propagating dharmic values across the world. And this is what is bothering a lot of people who are not subscribing to the Hindu philosophy. These developments have created an extinctional threat to those who can be called pseudo-liberals. Certainly, the new education policy 2021 has rattled the communists and the Islamists. This bottom-up approach movement has challenged the left's dominance over oppressed sections, over Gen Next, and over political power. The left is therefore using whatever little is left at their disposal to make unholy alliances with anti-Indian or jihadi forces and thrust their views using the top-down approach. Institutions such as JNU, Jamia Millia, Aligarh Muslim University, and the like, having left-leaning, blinded with utopian Marxist ideals, have for decades been brainwashing students into unscientific reasoning driven by emotional rhetoric, whether it relates to Citizens Amendment Act, abrogation of Article 370, or abolition of triple talaq, and also the talk about uniform civil code. So the result is that the students are getting involved in organized hate speeches and violent demonstrations, which we have seen in our recent situation in Shaheen Bagh and in Northeast Delhi. A lot of violent demonstrations took place, and a lot of damage was done on property and in person. However, this didn't succeed in the past, and we hope that this will not succeed even now. So this is what is really happening, why the universities are getting involved or becoming the hotbeds for such kind of activities. I think I will stop here and will let it open for whatever questions are there.
Ma'am, I would like to ask you, for example, lately now the ICSSR had published earlier, just on in 2019, it came up with a whole volumes of the martyrs of a dictionary of martyrs of Indian freedom struggle. In that, it consisted even of the Mopla jihadists who killed many Hindus. They committed genocide of Hindus down south in Malabar area. Nearly 10,000 people were killed, and many women were raped, and in so horribly, extremely horribly, that even pregnant women, their fetuses were removed and the fetuses were cut and stuffed into the mouth of the women. That's the way they were brutally butchered. And these men, these jihadists, have been hailed by the communists as some freedom fighters. They have been hailed as some freedom fighters and going around making even movies on them, and then making them heroes. So lately, there is the ICSSR head. He like there was a huge furor against this, from the Sangh circles and others, Hindus like us and professors like you, saying that this needs to change. So then the ICSSR head now presently said they would withdraw this portion. I mean, they would no longer call these Mopla genocidaires as martyrs. So I think this is, you would like to say something about the Mopla fellows being hailed?
Well, it's very unfortunate that, mostly it is the Hindus are not that vocal and aggressive. It is the communists which are so vocal and always take, positions of this kind. Uh, Calling them martyrs is not the right thing to do. But have the Hindus really reacted to it? They tend to take a very soft position, which is very unfortunate. I think it is time that we also have to be aggressive and we have to call it a spade a spade. Uh, and unless we do that, these people will always try and take positions against the Hindus, which they have been doing for so many years. So I totally don't agree or subscribe that they should have withdrawn this. They should have kept it. Why should they withdraw it? This is a reality which has happened.
No, they had put them, they had slated them as martyrs. In the dictionary, they were labeled as martyrs along with the other martyrs. So now these fellows are being removed. For the first time, they have been removed. They have been called genocidaires. I mean, they have been removed. So that is something welcome. And ma'am, I would like to ask you about one thing, like about your experience. I have even heard about Professor Meenakshi Jain's experience in the history department of Delhi University, that professors like you and Meenakshi Jain, especially Meenakshi Jain, have been saying that they face a lot of problems in their careers. They are never given promotions. Their books are never published by the university compared to the left-leaning professors. Could you say something about it?
Yes, this is a reality because majority of the, unfortunately over the years, things are changing now, but earlier it was, these universities were having more of left people, left leaning people, and therefore they were the ones who were ruling the roost. And their say used to be, because they were very vocal, they were very aggressive, so they used to take positions on these things. That is a reality. A lot of people have suffered because of this. In fact, even students have been victims of this, because if they were not subscribing to the left ideology, they used to be penalized. They're at PhD level, at MPhil level, even at MA level, because there are dissertations involved and you need supervisors who, if they are of left orientation, they will not like you to be not falling in their category. So these kinds of things have been happening. And it is now only since the present government has come that things are changing. And that is why these people are becoming more aggressive and more violent. You see, they are saying that they are Hinduizing it. It's and it's not being tolerated by them. But I'm glad that at least the present dispensation is not bothering about what they are saying. Look at the amount of accusations they have been putting on the present dispensation, but they are holding their ground. And that is what I think uh, most Hindus should do. But unfortunately, I find that at most of the times, it is the Hindus only who keep criticizing the Hindus, which is very sad. But these things, unless and until the right-leaning people also become aggressive. So far, we were taking this position, that everybody is our family, and we should not be, going against things. But then that doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah. Ma'am, there's also one book I recall by Ramanujam on 5,000 Ramayanas. It had lots of stories, although that person was quite knowledgeable. That particular book of his consisted of so many bad things written about the various versions of Ramayana. There were many objectionable kind of Ramayans that was written in it, where Sita was called Ravan's sister and such things. And such things were being taught in Delhi University. So, your thoughts on it, ma'am?
You see, earlier history or political science, mainly, or even sociology, was being taught by the leftists, and the books which were written were also by the left orientation people. So naturally, they were doing this. Even today, I read that there is an ad by Myntra, the clothes outline, where they are trying to project that this Gandhari is being unrobed, and Krishna is looking in the this his telephone, his phone, regarding the clothes available. This kind of ads coming up. So unless and until these things are stopped and loud noises are taken against these people, they will go on doing this. You see, because they feel that Hindus are a very tolerant community. They will not retaliate, they will not talk about it. But I think that time is gone now, and people are slowly waking up and understanding what is what, and vocalizing also. Although the number still is not to the extent it should be, compared to how the left leaning people are working. If we have to counter them, then we have to be united, and we have to be more vocal and aggressive. This is what I feel.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, not only us Hindus, I mean, not only Hindu gods and goddesses, these leftists, I mean, these kind of books, especially by Mridula Mukherjee and such people, they have chapters where Bhagat Singh are called literally terrorists. I mean, chapter headings. You, ma'am, your thoughts on that?
Yes, that's what I said. These things are distorted facts. There is no doubt on that. So, we have to counter it. I think that is the only way. We have to be aggressive in writing also,
Yes.
and countering these things by writing, by speech, by seminars, by discussions, whatever fora is possible. We have to use that.
Yes, ma'am.
Now,
Ma'am, and
this very fora which we are talking today is a counter to the dismantling of Hindutva. So it's good that we are coming up and talking about it. Otherwise, you see, these people will go scot free and they will do whatever they feel like. They have been doing it for so many years.
Gayatri, may I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. I was
Oh,
just going
Professor
to ask you
Tandon,
that.
namaste from Houston.
Namaste.
Yes, it's been lovely to chat with you on WhatsApp. Quick
Yeah.
question. So here, we see that many of the India studies programs are kind of now being relabeled as South Asia programs, even though sometimes much of the money is coming from the Indian community to establish professorships, fellowships, chairships, things like that. India studies has turned into like South Asia studies at many prominent institutions. Do we see a similar kind of a dilution of Bharatiya civilization in Indian higher education system?
Yes, it has been so far. But now, with our new education policy coming in place, things are changing. And a lot of emphasis is being given on our Indian culture, In fact, our present Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, himself is the person who is is setting example by his own conduct. He gives his speeches in Hindi. Whereas earlier, all these speeches, whenever they were given, were in English.
Mhm.
So, and he is one person, in fact, his whole, government is aggressively trying to promote lot changes in the higher education as well as in the school education, with emphasis on skills, with emphasis on culture, with emphasis on, you see, unfortunately, what had happened was a lot of changes took place during our earlier regimes, Congress regimes, where they, put changes in the constitution itself. And because of that, the minority institutions are allowed to talk about their culture. But Hindu institutions or institutions run by government, which have predominantly Hindu population, they were not allowed to talk about their own religion. So this dichotomy is there, and it is at various places, because of which, you see, Hindus had started feeling so much inferior about their own religion, and they were not even talking about their religion to their children, or explaining to them that if Diwali is celebrated, why it is celebrated, what is the emphasis on that, or what is the philosophy or religious connotation behind it. So the children also don't understand then, and they get guided by what is taught in the schools. And then in the schools, naturally, these things are not taught in most of the schools. Those who go to the Christian schools, they get Christianized orientation. So, they are also away from their own culture. In fact, this reminds me, I was reading somewhere, there was a boy in New Zealand or Australia, a Hindu boy in Australia. He was participating in football or some game, and he was wearing a tulsi mala, tulsi necklace. So the coach objected to his
Yes.
wearing the tulsi mala, and he put a condition that if you don't remove this tulsi mala, you cannot participate in this game. The boy took a stand. He said, I will not remove the tulsi mala. This is my religious important thing. I will quit your game, but not remove the tulsi mala. So if people are taught right from childhood about their religion, about the importance of it, then only, they can take positions like this. I wish there are more such children coming forward, and parents, give them the right education and right values regarding their and right orientation regarding their religion.
Mhm.
But
Ma'am,
now things are changing slowly.
ma'am, recently the BHU, the Banaras Hindu University, has started a course on Hinduism after so many years. Now,
Yes.
but then, yes, ma'am, your thoughts on it. But then we have Christian courses on Christianity, departments on Christianity in South. I mean, in Madras University has a department on Christianity. So, your thoughts on it, ma'am?
You see, unfortunately, Christianity is being promoted a lot in the South. Even today, the Hindus are not being allowed to worship in their temples, but Christians, they are going ahead with everything. So it is actually the political class also, those who are ruling in the particular state, who have to take position. Now, if they are promoting such kind of things, then it is very unfortunate. Now, because India is a federal country, so they have a state, freedom. the center cannot intervene in this. So that is a big problem. It is good that Banaras Hindu University, it should have started this kind of a course long back. But anyway, it's never too late. So good that the better sense is prevailing. And now you see this aggression from the um, left liberals and the Muslim community, especially, and to some extent from the Christian community as well, is because the Hindus have started now aggressively talking about it and promoting their religion. So this tussle is going to go for some time, and we are going to see more of Shaheen Bagh type of situations happening.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, and recently there was a article which I saw with the Tata School of Social Sciences in Mumbai had students writing doctoral thesis calling Kashmir being administered by India and India being an oppressive force and 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 a colonizing force. So how are such theses even allowed in the first place and being promoted? I can't understand that, ma'am. I
You
would
see,
like
the
to
thing is the topics are decided in the staff council. Now, who are all in the staff council and what orientation they have, it depends a lot on that. So, if they are able to push across this topic, majority agrees to it, you can't do anything about it. That is the problem. There are a lot of such topics which do come up in academic circles. Especially JNU was one of the biggest universities where such topics were being promoted until now. And now they are having a lot of problem because now there are a lot of, the faculty is divided. There is a lot of people who are with left leaning. There are also a lot of people with the right leaning. So this tussle is going on there. And that is why you have found, the voices which are coming out from there, that the university is not allowing us to do this, to do that. That is because things are changing over there as well. But it is actually the staff council which decides all this. And majority agreeing to a particular topic, you can't do anything about it. It's unfortunate, but then
ma'am,
yes.
don't the laws of the country come into? I know there is a lot of academic freedom there available, but to the extent of saying that we want to break the country, it literally says we want to break the country into several pieces. I mean, how can such things be allowed?
Well, this is why you find 2-3 students from JNU, they are behind bars under the Security Act for talking about hum sharminda hai, and he has been hanged, he was not a martyr, a terrorist. All those kinds of things are happening. So law, unfortunately, you see, these things are put in a manner that they say that it is freedom of speech, and at times the courts also take that view.
Yeah.
So it becomes very difficult. And the court systems in our country are so sluggish, it takes months and years to get the decision. So things keep hanging like that. Unless and until we, have quick justice system, delivery of justice, things will not improve. And people will continue saying that, it's freedom of speech. We have freedom of speech. And it goes out.
Ma'am, Sankrant Sanuji was he had an idea of teaching like technical courses in their mother tongue because he felt that people like what happens is generally students come from urban areas, and people from rural areas, though they are very bright, they think and learn in their mother tongue, and they are much smarter and much sharper than people who hail from urban areas. He feels that that retards, the language retards us from innovations. He felt that many books should be translated in mother tongues, and we should have many technical courses too. What your thoughts on that, ma'am?
Yes. I totally agree with this. And that is why our new education policy has emphasized on mother tongue to be used, or regional languages to be used at least till class 5, and even beyond if they want to, and even in higher education. You see, emphasis is being given on trying to translate the technical books also into different languages. That emphasis the present government is giving. And I totally agree. The rural area children do get deprived because of this handicap of language. So that is now being taken care of in this new education policy. I wish, again, education is a state subject. So how many states are going to really implement this also has to be seen. But I wish more and more states accept this as the right course.
May
And
I
ma'am,
ask a
there's
follow-up
also-
on that? Oh, please.
Yes.
I want to
yes.
get into the NEP if you both permit me. Yes, so learning English, but not learning in English, right? So Sankrant says this all the time. Yes, the NEP has a lot of provisions for language promotion. But I have a question about the NEP that is going to sound a little critical. A lot of the social science and liberal art outlines in the NEP basically allow outsiders to set up campuses, meaning external colleges which are outside of India, to set up campuses in India. And then they will probably bring their faculty, and their anti-India ideas and agendas will get exported along with it, and students in India will get trained on that. So is there any way to kind of prevent this further erosion? Is there a way to curb that?
I hope so. I haven't really gone into this aspect very critically, but I hope the government will take note of this. You see, they are wanting to become global and provide
That's the
best of
trick.
facilities to the students within the country as well as from outside countries. Those persons who financially cannot afford to go to other countries and study, for them this facilitation is being provided. And I presume and I hope that they will take care that they do not disturb the ethos of our country and our culture.
Mhm.
Perhaps we should keep out the social sciences department and have only the technical areas coming in.
STEM, yes, science and mathematics, and maybe not so much. I mean, I feel like there's so many Indian instructors, professors, and even learning systems present already. We don't need, we meaning Indians, don't need anyone from outside telling us how to interpret our shastras, even our constitution. I mean, that is my opinion.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you on this. In fact, I think it would have been better if they would have confined it only to the science subjects or the professional courses. That would have been definitely better. But what thinking has gone into it, I have not really studied that. So I will not be in a position to comment on it. Why they have also included social sciences, I am not in a position to say anything on that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. I've just kind of been following it. I was reading the drafts, a couple of drafts that were released, and I feel like there was a bit of a compromise, especially when it came to higher education. So that's kind of sad. But anyway, I figured I would propose that question to you.
Yes.
Go ahead, Gayatri. Sorry, I'll be quiet.
Yeah.
That's okay. Actually, I was just thinking about that mother tongue part, like because every other country, like the Japan or say even Israel or everybody, they have educations right till the highest level of education is imparted only in mother tongue. So why we can even go a higher? Like why only restricted to say 12, or just after 12 we have only language subjects, like you can do BA or MA in Hindi, or be a professor, I mean do a PhD in Hindi language. Why not learn mathematics, science, even medicine and BTech, everything in Hindi? Not just Hindi, all Tamil, all the languages, that is.
See, the thing is that we need to have books for that. Unfortunately, so far we have only books in English, unless they are translated into the regional languages, and that's going to take time. So a beginning has been done. You see, so far, English medium was the only medium of instruction provided in the schools, and more emphasis was being given only on English. In fact, the leftists are objecting that why English is not being considered as the only language to be taught. Why should we not have the status quo? But then that, of course, has been done away with, at least to the primary level and to the school level. They are wanting to have, mother tongue or the regional languages. Higher studies, you see, especially technical books, they have to be translated, and the translations should be such that they are correct. So you need people for that. Unless that is possible, if you are introducing regional language and giving them English,
Books,
books,
it won't work.
that will not work. So
Won't
this
work.
is going to take time, but I'm glad that at least the beginning has been done, and we are thinking in those lines. So
Yes,
for
ma'am.
translation also, a lot of money is being given now. The translators are being promoted for this. Now, as far as Israel or Germany or other countries are concerned, they have only one language. So it is easy for them to manage that. And then that they have been doing right from the beginning. They did not have English as their medium of instruction, which unfortunately was thrust upon us by the British.
Mhm.
So, to do away with or to undo what has been done, the damage that has been done is going to take time.
Time. Yes, ma'am. We are enslaved because of the language. We have become slaves of the language, literally. I mean,
Yes,
a
that is true.
huge population.
Correct.
So that
We feel
actually
ashamed talking
marginalizes.
in our language,
Mhm,
which is very sad.
mhm. Yeah, very smart people are marginalized just because of that lack of
Yeah.
English.
Yes,
Yes.
They would be much far ahead. Even something like, an engineering, a master's engineering course, it's possible. I mean, it is possible, but yeah, in terms of textbooks and materials, that might be the challenge.
Because there's a view that we no longer have Aryabhattas because we don't think in our own language. There's a view that
correct.
we keep always sort of copying what we are lagging behind. We are always copying what the West does or lapping it up. So
That's
that
true. That's
view.
true. You see, at least in the UPSC now, they have started introducing a few languages for the interviews, for their exams. So slowly the beginning is towards that only, which is a good sign.
Yes, ma'am.
If we can have, a sheet of paper for voting in a particular language, we can definitely come up with language, instruction curriculum in native languages. So yeah, I think it's a step towards the right direction.
Yes. Yeah, and it would also generate a lot of say employment. Translating, good translators, like for example, people who know Hindi or other regional languages well, they don't get good employment. This translation can be a good basis of employing them in good work, and that way
Right.
the language will also get enriched. We
Correct.
can
Correct.
even Perhaps we
That's
can
true.
have a dictionary or a glossary also of technical terms.
Probably revive a whole new area of business, right? I mean, when
Yeah.
we see like the book industry, whatnot, the publishing industry has undergone a lot of change, and a lot of focus is just English. So that would generate more jobs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a definite plus.
Certainly,
Yes.
certainly. Yes.
And anything else?
Guys, if you have
Professor Khan?
questions, we can put them in the chat. I see that Yogeshwar Lal mentioned that in Australia, the policy is that there was you cannot carry any materials, wear any rings or chains or necklaces and things like that. And there was a child who was not allowed to carry a knife to school because someone had stabbed another child, a separate incident. So this is how kind of the policy
Other
exists
opinions.
in Australia. So thank you for that clarification, Yogeshwarji.
Yeah.
Any other questions we can put in the chat, and Gayatri and I can help
Yeah.
filter them, please. Any other questions for Professor Tandon? If none, I have a question while people type it up. Dr. Tandon, do you think that the pandemic is going to serve as like a tipping point in the way education is imparted? We see that a lot of education went online, right? Virtual learning, virtual classes, virtual programs, entire programs are in online now. So do you think this is kind of a good thing to give the traditional system somewhat of a challenge? Traditional meaning the leftist dominated systems, a bit of a challenge. So is the pandemic in this sense, has it served to be a positive thing for our education?
First of all, I am not very much in favor of, although of course because of the pandemic we had no option but to go online. But it is not a very happy situation to continue with the online system unless you have face to face, especially in science subjects. What do you do with the practicals?
Right.
You cannot have it online.
Yeah.
So that is the thing which has to be worked out, and we are opening up schools slowly. Not only in India, I think world over schools are being opened, although that also has its own problem because those countries where the schools have opened, they have had cases of children getting into corona positive situations. But I am not very sure whether leftists have any problem with such kind of situation or it will affect in any way. You see, they're thinking whatever it is. How is it going to? I'm not very clear on what really you were looking for in this question.
New ways of teaching, meaning then like not using the same type of textbooks and the materials, possibility of finding things online, right? Using different types of printed works that might be available. So just giving teachers and I guess
Wider.
the writers a little bit of freedom in terms of what can be taught. That's what I'm kind of getting at. Yeah.
Could be, yes. That could definitely be a little of a help. Also from the students' point of view, because when they are surfing on the net, they are able to get more wider, understanding of things rather than just getting whatever is taught to them in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, from that point of view, it's definitely a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
How long can we continue only with that? That is the
no, that is not a possibility, especially for science courses and other things.
Yeah.
But for some subjects, it might be a possibility. Yeah.
I think internet has helped a lot in making people understand things in a wider perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because students also now don't just depend on what is taught in the classroom. They do surf a lot.
Yes.
And they do a lot of study on their own and have different perspectives. So
Mm-hmm.
internet definitely has helped a lot in this respect.
Mm-hmm. And I think technology in general, and I'll stop hijacking maybe my last question, is like, I think thanks to social media now, some of these things that professors might be experiencing on campus and even students, like the Rashmi Sawant incident at Oxford, thanks to social media, these instances are coming out more and more.
Yes.
Which, you know, a
Yes.
professor who would suffer in silence because the paper would not even be accepted for review at a journal. Now, like putting these thoughts online and kind of exposing some of this, I think has been a positive view about technology, kind of bringing
Yes,
things out in the open.
definitely, definitely.
People's
Sure,
struggles
I
out.
agree.
Good. Any closing? Yeah, Gayatri.
Ma'am, one question before closing. Shouldn't we also do one thing? Instead of sending our students to Christian missionary schools, shouldn't we be sending our children to Hindu institution schools where they are well taught? For example, in Tamil Nadu, we have, even in Delhi, we have this mother school. And then in Tamil Nadu, we have this PSBB set of schools where this begin with the prayers to Guru, Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha and the Saraswati Vandana. And each day there is, according to the God's importance, like Mangalwar ko koi Bhagwan, dusre, other days, different Bhagwans shlokas being recited. So your views on this, having more public schools, Hindu-based public schools, Hindu institution public schools.
Yes, I agree. We should have more of such schools so that, but you see, unless the general population's mindset changes, things will not happen. People think that sending them to a convent school is something very prestigious. And in the matrimonial market also, that will be of a great value. So if that thinking is there, then naturally, even if you have more Hindu-based schools, they may not send them. So basically, we have to have orientation within ourselves, thinking that what we are really for and how we should be able to promote our own, religion. Although we say that Hinduism is a very open religion, it's a way of life, yet, we do not subscribe to it. And there are so many good things which the other countries are able to appreciate, which we don't appreciate. So this kind of a thing which is happening, that has to change. So we need to change the mindset of the people first. And that can happen only through, more of interactions, more of seminars, workshops, or online discussions, so that, people realize that there is so much richness in our culture, which we are not, giving importance to. And it's time that we do give that importance. And certainly we should have more schools where, these kinds of vandana and all that is promoted. Definitely, I will not
Because,
subscribe to Christian schools at all.
yes, because they literally colonize us. They make us half Christians. Once you come out of the schools, you become half Christians. Literally.
Yes, because they have chapels inside. They have a chapel inside every school. So, they will promote you to go to the chapel. Now you start going there. This very subtle way, they,
Yes.
try and promote things. And children are, so innocent, and they don't understand that how this gets imbibed in a very subtle way. So definitely, we need to have more schools which are giving, Indianized way of education. Definitely.
And we are also sort of subsidizing our own conversions because parents are generally Hindus. So we pay for the education. We pay
Yes,
to these schools. So they are getting richer.
correct. That is why Modi is talking about Indian and Indianized things.
Yes. Ma'am, what do you want to, do you have any, would you like to share your thoughts about the special scholarships for minorities? I mean, nearly 22,000 crore rupees is being given for minorities as scholarships. According to me, I mean, I'm sorry, I have very, I can't accept this because this, our Hindu students similarly placed, they don't get any scholarships. So it's almost an incentive that once you convert, you can get these scholarships. So
Actually, I
something-
am totally opposed to it. And in fact, this Minorities Commission should also be dismantled. There is no question why it should be existing. This was not there. It came up only during the if I'm not wrong, Indira Gandhi regime. So
Yes.
it's time that it gets dismantled. And there is a talk going on now on this. A lot of people have started talking about it also, that why this Minorities Commission should exist. And unfortunately, what is happening is, in the name of minorities, only Muslims are considered. The other
Yes.
minority groups are not being considered. So what kind of a minority commission is this? It's a biased, one-sided kind of a commission, and it should be dismantled. This is my view.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, very rightly said, because we have in Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, where Hindus are a minority, they are considered a majority. You have all the reservations going to the Muslims. So it is becoming really an inverted system, completely inverted system.
You see, that is again because our constitution is not properly framed. The tampering in the constitution, which was done during the Congress regime, has created all these dichotomies. That even if Hindus are in minority, they are not considered minority, which is very unfortunate. So these things, it's this so many dichotomies and prejudices have been created, which have to be handled. And I think if we have a uniform civil code, probably quite a few of these things will be taken care of. But it's going to be a time, it's not going to be easy to introduce a uniform civil code, because even not only the lefts and the Muslims who are against it, even some of our Hindus are against it. So that is the unfortunate part. I think it will come, because now it is being vocalized quite a bit. So I think in years to come, we will have uniform civil code as well.
Thank you for a very, very lively discussion. It was really nice having you with us, ma'am. And in fact, we would like to discuss more with you, but for the time constraints, I think we'll have to wrap this session, but it was extremely enlightening. We want to have you again with us, discussing more about education and how it should be improved so that we have our Hindu and Indian systems revived in our education curriculum. Thank you so much, ma'am, for
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Professor Tandon.